CSX is making good on plans to upgrade its old Seaboard main line into Peninsula, Florida. In late June 2012, I made a run up and back to check the progress. Here at Starke, a new universal crossover was added to the old double-track main. This will allow dispatchers an option for moving trains around each other. Until now, the only crossover on this double track was 15 miles to the north at Highland. These are number 20 turnouts, allowing trains to travel at 45 miles per hour between main lines. The new Starke crossover is also linked to the network via satellite rather than 900 megahertz radio, so it won't appear on ATCS layouts. While searching for the new crossover, I discovered this old Seaboard scale house and track at Starke. There was much commodity traffic in and out of the Starke area at one time, minerals and forest products. I guess they weighed the loaded cars here. Tampa to Waycross train Q652 snuck up on me while I was here. At Newnan, just south of Starke, the double track singles up as it heads off toward Tampa and Miami. New signals and bungalow here too, and again satellite instead of radio code line. There are no improvements coming to Island Grove, but I had to stop and see this, a wayside radio station from the Seaboard coastline era. Out of service now, Island Grove was likely one of the first of these stations on what was then the Baldwin subdivision. It was taken out of service sometime after 2000 when a new station at Hawthorne came online. At all the new installations so far, the track structure goes from wood to concrete. Anthony Siding, the first of the S-Line upgrades, is now in full service. Like Starke and Newnan, Anthony is also connected to the CTC system via satellite. There are no improvements at Summerfield Siding either. But a crew calling signals on the radio and a green signal told me the Tropicana juice train was on the way. This is L740, normally Q740, running as an L train this June Friday on an apparent alternate schedule, but not by much. This is the time the juice train normally passes through this part of Florida. You can't tell it from here at the south end, but Singletary is buzzing with activity. This is the southernmost of two sidings through Ocala that are being connected to make a length of double track all the way through town. At the connection point, a set of number 20 universal crossovers are going in.
Rainfall is certainly a big concern given the slow motion of the system. 3 to 6 inches are predicted across the Gulf Coast from southern Louisiana.
By late afternoon, the first rains from Tropical Storm Debbie were falling, so the end of my survey had to be out the windshield. Driving northward on US 301, I'm at St. Catherine, where a brand new piece of double track is being built. Technically at Lacoochee, the two-track is slated to be 4.4 miles long and apparently on concrete ties, just like all the other new construction. 2 new bridges to support the double-track mains, one at this creek and one a half-mile south over the Little Withlacoochee River. By Sunday morning, the rains were still falling as Debbie made a reverse course in the Gulf and started back toward the Florida peninsula. At Dade City, K792 rolls north, empty from Mulberry, Florida, on its way back to a rock mine at Augusta, Georgia. But I hear over the radio that this train is going into Lacoochee siding to meet Q453, so that's where I turn the expedition. North in Lacoochee, K792 is already there and stopped, and Q453, the southbound, right at the door. Some very good CSX dispatching today. When 453 is passed, I get a look at those purpose-built Martin Marietta hoppers. In less than a minute, 792 gets the green and heads on his way to Augusta. On this Sunday morning, Ben Margarone, Aaron Van Amberg, and Ryan Nicolay, plus other area rail fans, plan a meetup at the Dade City Depot. The covered freight dock of the old coastline station is about the best place around for rainy day rail fanning. While I was there, Q652 came by, running north out of Tampa toward Rice Yard at Waycross, Georgia. There, it will be cut up into many little blocks and sent off to Atlanta, Cincinnati, Chicago, Pittsburgh, New Jersey, and Saskatchewan. South a few miles is Zephyrhills. The old ACL station was moved and made into a library, but it's still close to the tracks. This is the very bottom of the S-Line reroute from 1968, the ex-Atlantic coastline Thanota-Sassa, Maine that connected Vitus with Gary, now known as Neby Y. Five miles on south is Central. Earlier this spring, I discovered another of the S-Line improvements here. Central is the mainline turnout to CF Industries' Central Mine at Crystal Springs. Once a hand-thrown, electrically locked turnout, Central is now a signaled, fully controlled switch. The machinery will now allow the local mine jobs to run right into Central without having to stop and tie up the main while hand-opening the switch. Like the other S-Line upgrades, Central is connected via satellite and not 900 megahertz code line. Next stop, an update from Florida's Bone Valley. But for now, at Crystal Springs, Florida, this is Danny Harmon, out.